components of a vector. In this module, you will learn about components of a vector. Three mutually orthogonal vectors of unit length along x, y, and z axis are known as unit vectors along them, or you can say the position vectors of points 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and 0, 0, 1 are unit vectors along the axis OX, OY, and OZ as their magnitude is equal to 1. They are denoted as I cap, j cap, and k cap along x, y, and z axis respectively. Consider a position vector of a point in space having coordinates x, y, z with respect to the origin. Any vector directed in three-dimensional space has an influence in three different directions, which are represented by its projection along the three different axes. Projection of a vector along a line is a line segment obtained by moving initial point of the vector onto the line and dropping a perpendicular onto the same line from the terminal point of the vector. The projection of the vector A along x, y, and z axis are known as its scalar components. Since the vector is described completely by its magnitude and the unit vectors along it, so product of scalar component x and unit vector I cap represent a vector xi cap. Similarly, product of scalar component y and unit vector j cap represent a vector yj cap, and product of scalar component z and unit vector k cap represent a vector zk cap. Vectors xi cap, yj cap, and zk cap are known as components of vector A. Now, the net displacement between the vectors xi cap and yj cap are given by the vector OQ. Next, look at the triangle ORQ in the xy plane. Applying triangle law of vector addition to triangle ORQ, we get vector OQ is equal to xi cap plus yj cap. Again, applying triangle law to triangle OPQ in XYZ plane, we get vector A is equal to xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. This form of vector A represents its component form. The component form of a vector helps us to conclude that combined influence of the three components is equivalent to the influence of the single original vector. In this module, you have learnt that three mutually orthogonal unit vectors along x, y, and z axis are denoted as I cap, j cap, and k cap. The projection of a vector along x, y, and z axis are known as its scalar components. The product of scalar component of a vector along a particular axis and a unit vector along that axis represents the component of a vector. Sum of all the components of a vector represent a vector itself.